Everyone, my name's McCaffery. I work with Microsoft based here at North Ryde, so thanks for taking the time out of your busy schedules to come along and to hear about what's happening with AX, our roadmap, and hopefully see a couple of innovative things during the presentation as well. So my role is I work with our Dynamics AX partners as a product specialist. So one of our gold partners is MicroChannel Services. So it's a great opportunity. I enjoy being invited along to these sessions. So I appreciate that. Now I'm between yourselves and some drinks and some nibblies out there. So I'm going to cut down dramatically what I was going to talk about, but hopefully I'll give you a good flavour of what things are happening. So firstly, what is Dynamics? What is Microsoft's strategy, and how does Dynamics and Dynamics AX in particular fit into that? Moving ahead, so that's obviously important. Microsoft spends $9.5 billion US every year on research and development across our products, so it's very important to know what Microsoft's investing in Dynamics AX and basically how is that fitting in with our strategy moving ahead. Also wanted to give you a very, very quick update on the roadmap. There's a conference going on at the moment called Convergence. You may or may not have colleagues who are attending that over. It's in Atlanta, Georgia at the moment. So I actually got some information that came through overnight, even some pictures, where someone's taken some shots of the upcoming AX7 release, so I'll show those to you. And hopefully we might have some time at the end for some Q&A, but I will be hanging around, so please feel free to grab me after the session. So I just want to quickly, so I've been with Microsoft for 8 years, by the way, and when I started with Microsoft 8 years ago, this gentleman was running the Dynamics business worldwide. So I'm not sure if any of you know who that is. Just a hint, that's the third CEO of Microsoft in the history of Microsoft after Bill Gates and Steve Ballmer. It's Satya Nadella. So Satya, when I started, was actually running our business solutions division. So when he got obviously the CEO role, I was pretty excited because I thought he's someone who definitely understands business solutions and what we provide to our customers as such. So the first thing Satya kind of, I guess, explained to the company was, a strategy. What's happening in the world of IT? What's happening in the world of business, and where does Microsoft fit into that as such? So as we can see there, he straight away said that, basically everything's becoming, digital and software driven in the world. And we know that. I'm probably like you, between work and home, I probably have more than 4 or 5 devices if I sit and count them up, if they're phones, laptops, tablets. If you want to count TV screens, we're constantly looking at digital content. Secondly Microsoft's broader goal is to provide productivity experiences across all of the devices that you may have. Okay, so that's a really big departure if you look at how previously Microsoft was run as a business. Everything had to be Windows, everything had to be running on a Windows device. So Satya has come along and said, and I think rightly so, we would like to deliver these productivity experiences right across any device that you may have as such. And also the reality that everything is becoming connected to the cloud and to data. It's basically being connected to that, and people are having those experiences with those devices connected into there. And finally, and this is where Microsoft's opportunity is as well, is that software is a great mediator between all of these things. Okay? So I won't go through all of these slides, but if you look at analysis of what's going on in the marketplace and Microsoft's strategy, as you can see, this was just a survey that Microsoft made of our customers quite recently, and it basically kind of said, what's your top organisation priority? And you could only vote on one thing, from an IT perspective. And as you can see, the biggest one there was the cloud, 32%. That was the top one. Then came mobility, business intelligence and analytics, and then social. So if you kind of add up even those first 3, cloud, mobility, BI, analytics, that's a huge percentage of focus from our customers and where they're seeing that technology can assist their business moving forward. Okay, again, I'll just quickly, just with time, just only touch on this, but a survey from IDC there, which is basically surveying CIOs and how they're going to be investing in the cloud. So there's 70% of CIOs will be embracing the cloud in some shape or form. Maybe it's particular workloads, maybe it's looking at moving their business right up to the cloud. So I think this is a really great quote about, because a lot of people think about it and say, oh, you know, businesses are just leveraging the cloud just really to save money, you know, to reduce their costs. But as you can see here, the true potential of the cloud lies in the organisation's ability to leverage this agile delivery model, being the cloud, to transform their business. I think that's really where the true value of the cloud lies. Okay, just quickly there as well, how businesses are using the cloud as such to transfer. As we talked about at the top, yes, there are businesses who are just looking at how can we utilise the cloud to drive cost efficiencies across our business. But if you look at all of the other sections there, it's all about what we were just talking about, transforming your business. You know, right across things such as, you know, supporting a mobile workforce or expanding your business globally. You know, we have customers like that who are, you know, their businesses are expanding around the world, so they're going from an Australian-based business to a global business. So the cloud is a technological breakthrough which can help you manage that transformation and that change. Okay, this slide is just quickly saying cloud is really nothing different to Microsoft. You know, I could say, you know, show of hands, anyone who's used Skype or is a Skype user, we don't bother doing that. It's just really showing it's something that's been part of our DNA and our business for a long, long time now. Okay, and you probably heard as well, we've been making huge investments in data centres. So as you can see in Australia, that was mentioned relatively recently, we've now got quite, it's exciting data centre capability in Sydney and Melbourne, and what's called geo-redundancy, where obviously if one was to fail, there's the other one there to basically to back it up. So it's really exciting investments. If you look at it on all of the continents, for Australia to have those data centres is an amazing thing. So where does Dynamics fit into this, this whole world of what Satcher calls mobile first, cloud first world as such? And there's really these three pillars of that. Firstly is a platform, a scalable platform where you can have all of your infrastructure. You've got the ability to develop applications. You've got the ability to deploy those applications across your organisation. Okay, productivity. You know, giving your staff the ability to cope with the new digital world, the rapid rate of change that we find in the business world. So those kind of tools that they need to better engage with internal stakeholders, even external stakeholders, and the business applications side is really connecting with your customers as such, giving them fantastic experiences. So there are the products, and this is the exciting thing with our strategy. It's the first time in my 8 years at Microsoft. First and foremost, I see Microsoft Dynamics up there as a key pillar in where Microsoft is going with our business. So Microsoft Azure cloud platform to enable that, giving customers that platform to do all those things, as I mentioned before. Office 365, which you just heard about, and then Microsoft Dynamics, so starting particularly with CRM but also with Dynamics AX as well, providing that line of business platform integrated to all these things to enable you to better engage with your customers. So that's what we talk about with AX, delivering amazing customer experiences through this process. Now your customer you could be in public sector, that could be your constituents. You may have a role where you have internal stakeholders. So customers is a very, very broad term there that we utilise. So I just wanted to show an example, because we talk about cloud, we talk about mobile. It's always great to see an example of a customer who's basically driven some amazing business value, and I'm just going to build out these measurements and KPIs here. So you can see things such as, they've chosen and deployed Dynamics AX, 84% revenue growth, 40% increase in customer satisfaction, some amazing kind of, metrics there. So who is this customer? Well, Delta Airlines. I actually flew with them last year, and the flight attendants used to walk around with those point of sale terminals, the big ones there where you just swipe your card and pretty much would take your orders, for your meals and duty free. Now they're walking around, they've got 18,000 Nokia devices. So they've got a smart device. So if you think about it, You've got a mobile device which is connected via the cloud to Dynamics AX to provide amazing customer experiences, which is driving that revenue growth. Now, how did I guess Delta Airlines come to that kind of conclusion? They were actually invited along to our retail executive briefing centre in Redmond, over in Seattle. So we have this amazing centre where you can walk in. It's basically like a pretend shopping mall, and you can see all of this, innovative technology that Microsoft has produced, where we can bring customers along and they can see potentially how technology can change their business. Well, Delta Airlines went along to that and walked out and said to themselves, "Wow, we didn't realise we're a retailer. We thought when we walked into this experience that we were a transportation company. We were, shifting people and goods from one country to another, one state to another, but we're actually retailers. That's our future." So that was a real, moment and epiphany for them to realise that. So not only are these devices have, replaced those dumb terminals, but they also have the pilots who, instead of lugging on these big bags with massive manuals that is basically mandatory that they need to bring on a flight, those things, if you think about it, if they're weighing 5 to 10 kilograms, imagine how much fuel that they're saving on each flight, not having to lug those on, and they can just use, for example, a tablet device, a Surface, to read that information. So just to give you, and I'll just try and project my screen on here. There we go. So what does it look like? So this is it. With Dynamics AX, we have a mobile app point of sale framework which is available. So this is the actual app that they use on board. So not only the ability to go in, for example, and order products, you want your 2 Coronas, and as I said, it's very easy for their staff to be trained on how to use this. Is there anyone in here who actually buys duty free on a plane? I just thought I'd ask. I don't know. The Seconda fashion watch. And my rosemary shrimp, love that. And so they've got the ability to change currency, I guess, depending on the flights. Then they can go to the actual shopping cart. Very, very, very user-friendly kind of things. You can even start a tab. So if you're sitting in seat 12H, again, that can be actually, I tried to activate the card reader, and because I don't have a card reader connected to it, it's not going to find that. So as you can see, you've got that full POS checkout. Now, one of the things with the fraud reduction was, interesting things was, if you're walking around with a standalone point of sale terminal, how do you know if someone's credit card is not a fraud, is not fraudulent, or isn't over its limit? So with having something like this, which can be connected real time to the web to check to see whether all those things are valid, basically reduces that to zero. So imagine what the potential costs for their business that they've saved on that front. Now the other thing that they're utilising with this, again, going back to back office AX system, is accessing reports, and I won't go into those. There's sales summaries and what people are running tabs. As you can see, you can process offline transactions if required. The documents area even covers things such as the good old famous announcements. Ladies and gentlemen, the captain has turned on the fasten seatbelt light sign, just in case they haven't memorised it, which I think most of them have. What they're also utilising this app for at the moment is to upgrade people on flights. So as you probably know, you've been on a flight, when you look over and you think, hang on, there's a spare seat in business, I wonder if anyone's going to sit in that. I'm going to keep my eye on it, or premium economy. So what they can actually do is upgrade people on the flight, utilising their points or utilising actual payments. So that, as you can see, increases revenue and increases customer satisfaction. So one of the things they've been talking about, just quickly, about how they can potentially get more wallet share from their customers is, imagine they've got a flight to New York. Imagine if they had the ability to offer people tickets to Broadway shows. Say, hey, you're going there, do you need a hire car? So it's only limited by the imagination, and there will always be, as you can imagine, people on the flight who would say, yeah, I'd be interested in that. My family and I would love to go see the King and I, or whatever. So again, there's those opportunities to upsell, to get that greater wallet share, but it's driven by that mobile first, cloud first experience. So just wanted to show you that as an example. Okay. Now, one of the other things with the system, with Dynamics AX 2012, and especially with R3, we have what's called a modern POS app, which is available to run across different form factors. But the idea is that you can provide what's called a clienteling experience to your customers if they wander into your store. So how often do you see, people working in a store, standing behind a cash register, or that you can't find them anywhere? These people can wander around with these devices, with this app running, and give customers a fantastic experience by helping them to search for available products. You can even compare online. So all of that information that many customers these days have at their fingertips on a phone, but it's important that our retailers should have that as well to help our customers to compare products and to make a sale. So that's another exciting area of investment that we've made in the solution, but I'll talk about that a little bit more in a moment. So moving on, so Dynamics AX, if there's anyone in the room who's not an AX user, we have a whole bunch of industry functionality that comes out of the box. So that's one of the, obviously the value propositions with the solution. Everything from wholesale distribution, professional services, retail, public sector, manufacturing. So we have that functionality out of the box. Obviously we do have ISV partners that extend on to that, but there's a great deal of functionality there. If you have investments in Microsoft solutions, these are the solutions that Dynamics AX works with. So as you can imagine, pretty much nearly every product that Microsoft produces, our development team works across with our other development teams. So when there's, for example, new business intelligence functionality released with SQL Server, straight away within 2 months that became available with the Dynamics AX 2012 because our development teams have been working together saying, hey, we need to have our customers getting access to this technology. Okay, from deployment options, we talked about cloud. I definitely don't want to go through this whole slide, but the key point here is that we support how you want to deploy the system, and that will go on into the future. If you want to deploy the system in-house, have it installed on-premise, we support that. If you want to have it in a private cloud, whether that's one that you manage or you work with a partner doing that at the moment, we support that. And then with an upcoming release, AX7, we'll support public cloud as well, Microsoft Public Cloud. So this is a quick one from Gartner, a Gartner slide just showing from an innovation perspective, Gartner rates us highly. You can see our investments and the kind of business outcomes that we're driving for some of our customers. What will move us up into the top right-hand corner, of course, is once we have more and more customers using Dynamics AX. So it's exciting to see that even the analysts are seeing that we're doing some very innovative things in a market that typically with ERP there hasn't been a lot happening for the last quite while. So I just wanted to quickly touch on Dynamics AX and why is it different to 2009 and earlier versions fundamentally. So I just wanted to quickly pop this slide up, and this is the Standard & Poor's index of the top 500 traded companies in America. And it's an interesting study showing back in the 1920s when the S&P started, the average company ran for 67 years. The kind of companies that were handed down from father to son, from grandfather to son, etc., etc. By the 1980s, 25 years was the average time for a company. So obviously that takes into account things that, organisations may be dropping out of that top 500, maybe being acquired, maybe restructuring and changing totally. So as you can see, this is becoming much more, 15 years now in 2010. So what they're projecting is that by the 2020s, 25% of companies that will be on the S&P will be the ones that exist today. So 75% of companies that don't even exist these days will be on the Standard & Poor's in 2020. So what we're talking about there is rapid change. So with designing the AX 2012 solution, we wanted to support that agility that businesses need to have these days. So one of the key points is an inbuilt workflow engine, so graphical drag and drop. So we have that foundation in the product so that you can ensure that your business processes are followed consistently throughout the group, and that you can modify those as your business changes. This is a kind of key when we talk about agility, is the ability for the system to, I guess, support your changing business. And I'm originally a CPA, and that was one of the things always used to be my headache when we made acquisitions or divestments. The first thing I'd think was, how am I going to reflect that in the ERP system? In some cases I had backup systems and was running multiple databases. With Dynamics AX 2012, with our master data, we have this hierarchical structure. Okay, so as an example, these are people, but let's say it's the top node up there. It's very much like Visio. The top node up there is a legal entity. Then we have departments and cost centres. Now, what would happen if, and this is a typical thing, of course, on the 1st of July, your business is going to be restructured, and the purchasing department is now going to go from the logistics area and move under finance. So what you can do with the Dynamics AX system is you can cut and paste that lower node and move it under finance and publish it to make it effective 1st of July 2015. So from an audit perspective then, if the auditors come in after that and say, hey, I want to look at your business as it was at 30th of June 2015, the system knows, the management report writers and the system knows as at that particular point, it was the old structure, but obviously after the 1st of July 2015, the new structure comes into play. So I remember when I saw that, I thought, wow, that's definitely supporting agility, because usually an ERP system can really stifle what you can report on. And thirdly, and you probably saw some examples there with what we've been doing in Office 365, is having BI baked into the solution rather than seeing it as an add-on. So this is an example of our role center dashboards. Okay, so we have these dashboards that come out of the box, which are basically role dependent. So as we can see there, an example of what a CFO might want to look at. We have ones for purchasing managers, we have ones for manufacturing managers. So they're basically dashboards with business intelligence, KPIs, those kind of things baked into it. You can modify those, you can add to them, you can add additional ones. And the other thing is, this is backed by role-based security, because of course you only want to ensure that the right people see the right information. So again, it's driven by that AX security. What you see an example there is, with that big pie graph, is what I mentioned when Microsoft brings out new innovation. That's called PowerView. So those PowerView reports are baked into the solution as well. So that's data visualization. So I just want to quickly show you, when we talk about some of this technology and how pervasive it is throughout Microsoft solutions. So we saw it there with Dynamics AX, but PowerView is actually available as well in Excel 2013. So I've just got an example here. Let's say you pulled a report. One of my top 10 customers by balance. Typically, this is the kind of a lot of the information that you can see out of an ERP system. But imagine if you're wanting to make that point in a different way and visualize this data, you could use PowerView. So what I'm going to do is just highlight this, select insert, select the PowerView add-in, which I said is Office 2013. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to show this data on a map to create that little bit of extra impact. So what it's going to do is it's created a PowerView sheet. I can just simply go up to the tab here, and because this data is geocoded, the addresses, what it's done straight away is it's gone and put that onto a map, and we can see the bigger the bubble, the more money that particular customer owes, and we can drill into that map and so on and so forth. Or imagine your vehicle costs, your motor vehicle fleet, if you're lucky enough to have motor vehicle fleets nowadays. Let's say you've got that by category, and you're wanting to see which vehicles are costing us the most in maintenance. So again, looking at something from a two-dimensional perspective doesn't really give you much clue. So PowerView can also show you how information changes over time. It's like four-dimensional reporting. So what we've got here is on the x-axis, the lower axis, we've got time, so how things change over time, and the axis, the vertical axis, the y-axis is showing us the cost. So what we can do is with that data, if I click here, it'll show how this data is changing over time for these vehicle categories. So you can see the orange bubble, the biggest one there, which is our biggest expense, is our SUV category, and I can actually click on that and it shows me over time how, as time goes on, the SUVs are costing us a lot of money to maintain. Whereas, alternatively, the hybrid cars are pretty much running and they're not costing us much money. So These tools are not only available within AX, not only available on Office 365, they're available in Excel, and we can publish this out to PowerPoint as well to make that impact. So again, that $9.5 billion that we invest, it's being utilised right across the board, obviously, with our solutions. So let's keep quickly moving. Let's talk about the roadmap. So the current release, Dynamics AX 2012 R3, is in market. That was originally released in May of last year. So for those of you who don't know, we publish a 10-year roadmap and we update that twice a year. So that's Microsoft's commitment to say, this is what we're doing, this is when we're doing it, and this is where our money's going. So your investment is basically safe with us because we're going to constantly create innovation and have new releases. So AX7, so it's project name 7 as such. I got updated last night that it's going to be released in December quarter this calendar year, so somewhere between October, November, December. Still haven't given an exact date, but it's coming very, very close. It's not far away. But as you can see there with AX 2012, if you are on AX 2012, we will continue to provide updates. So for example, we've got a cumulative update 9, which is due out between April and June, so next quarter. So that will come out. Okay. So where are we investing? And these are just some of the key areas, and I'll show you an example at the moment. Some screens that were actually showed at the conference, and one of my colleagues was taking photos, so I'm just showing you something that only came through last night. So modern user experience. So Dynamics AX 7 takes all of the functionality that's currently there with AX 2012 R3 and I guess gives it a new user interface as such, okay? So if you are after looking at upgrading, if you are after specific functionality, there's nothing stopping you from upgrading to Dynamics AX 2012 right now. So there will be a path taking you to AX7. However, if you are waiting for something like public cloud, software as a service, then AX7 will be the option for that. At the moment with AX 2012, you can deploy the virtual machine up into our hosting centres, but that's what I'm really wanting to highlight, I guess, is from a functionality perspective, it's taking what's currently there in AX 2012 and then adding new technology to it. So we've got HTML5 screens, so you can run it on different form factors. It will know straight away whether it's running on a big PC screen compared to a small tablet, those kind of things. Another area I just wanted to quickly highlight there, full suite and composable workloads. So what composable workloads is, what we're working towards is that you're able to deploy particular areas within the system. It might be a specific workload of expense management, it could be human resources, it could be something else. We're wanting to get down to that kind of level where instead of you having to roll out the entire system, you can just consume particular workloads. All right, so AX7, I was just trying to think of some other things there, so that was the actual date. One of the things I'm going to touch on in a moment is what we call Lifecycle services, which is a cloud service we've developed to help you manage your entire application lifecycle of Dynamics AX from the first moment you look at it through to configuring, having the system configured, through to ongoing support. Okay. I'll just duck over there. So let's have a look at, again, these were shots taken. They will be made available to us internally over the next few days, but this happened last night. So as I said, one of my colleagues was over there taking pictures of the screens. So as we can see, that Office 365 look, again, which is a great experience across PCs where you may be using a mouse, to different form factors like Surface devices, maybe even Apple devices, Android devices. We want to develop this as such, and Adela says we want to be able to help you become productive across all your devices that you may have. There's just an example of a purchase order screen, getting into more of the details, with particular screens there. This particular screen here shows the inbuilt, you can see in the bottom right hand corner, the inbuilt help, so that context sensitive where you can hover your mouse over there and start to get information from a help perspective. So yeah, amazing new I guess look and feel for the solution, so it's very, very exciting times, but it's utilising the functionality that's already available in AX 2012. Right, how are we going for time? Let me just double check. Okay, I just wanted to really highlight here that Microsoft, we've rolled out our 18th instance of Dynamics AX globally. So from an agility perspective, we use Dynamics AX ourselves to provide operational workload solutions. So if you go into a Microsoft store in America, fortunately they're not here, but if you go into America, that runs the point of sale. The whole customer experience is Dynamics AX. We have an expense management system that's been rolled out to about 40,000 people. That's driven by Dynamics AX and includes a phone app where people can capture expenses and talks back to the system. When our partners are wanting to place orders for Dynamics product online, that's driven by Dynamics AX. So we use that Dynamics AX as that solution every time we need anything from supporting Xbox manufacturing through to managing events. It's our solution that we roll out, and we can do that very, very rapidly. So just to make you aware, if you're not aware, there's some companion apps which are available. And some of these do run across devices as well. I know the expenses one can run on an Android and an iPhone. But they're here to help you from an app perspective, as we know, to be more productive, and particularly when you're operating on different form factors. So let me just escape out of that. I just want to quickly show you one of them, which I've got down the bottom here, what that looks like. And again, this is kind of showing that consistent, that new look and feel that's going to be coming through with AX7. So again, this is reading, expenses that are available in Dynamics AX. You can look at your unreconciled items. We can view them by source, meaning which ones have come through from American Express, which ones have I captured when I used the app to take pictures of them. And then, if you're going to go and create your expense report, you can, see it in different views, but we can show, that as a report there, and you can go away and create that. So we're in the process at the moment of, this is being piloted with our US subsidiary. So giving our staff another way of being able to do their expenses, and to, again, leveraging Dynamics AX as such. So again, we've got a few apps there. If you haven't kind of seen those, definitely go and have a look at those. What else have we got? Lifecycle services, yes. Okay. So very, very quickly, as I mentioned, Lifecycle services, if you do have Dynamics license, so straight away, if you've got a license with Dynamics AX, you can access this portal. Okay, so it's a collaboration, what we call a customer collaboration portal in Azure, in the Azure cloud. And the idea is it's all about creating more quicker and more predictable implementations, okay, for you. So whether that's in the cloud or on-premise. So what it includes is a bunch of services. So if we take on the left-hand side there how software has been traditionally installed, you had to buy your hardware, you had to install your software, you then went away and configured it, and loaded data, tested it, and so on and so forth. So what we've done is, the idea is utilising the Azure cloud to compress and all of this into a shorter period of time, and automating a lot of these steps where it is possible. Okay. So depending on people within your organisation, whether they're project managers, developers, or business analysts, there are services which are available with Lifecycle services which are relevant. So what I did there was just really tried to show it from, if you started looking at a system from the left-hand side through to, you might want to use Lifecycle services to create a project team. Then you can spin up, using Lifecycle services, a trial virtual machine. So it'll just take a couple of hours there just for it to do. You just click the button, you can walk away. It spins up a demonstration kind of, I guess, you can call it a proof of concept, whatever you want, system on Azure. We also have the ability there for you to review your business processes. So we have a whole bunch of business processes that come predefined in the system. You can utilise what's called the task recorder in Dynamics AX to record new processes and load them in. Okay. You can estimate, again, you may be looking at deploying in-house or in the cloud. There's an infrastructure estimator which can assist. And again, all of this you can work with your partner, and many of our customers are working with their partners. Now, 92% of our partners use Lifecycle services, and about 30% of our ActiveAX customers are beginning to use it, mainly working with our partners. Rapid Start is our project methodology for implementations. And then when you get to the stage where you've gone live, on the right-hand side, That's where you can go and download your updates and check and do issue searches. And we even have something called cloud-powered support, which can potentially link, partner yourself and Microsoft into your system. So it's like you're inviting Microsoft there to say, hey, we're having this issue. You can spin up an image of the issue. Microsoft can quickly look at it through this platform instead of having to rely on phone calls and emails and all of that. So, and then work with the partner and yourselves to resolve that issue. So it's quite exciting times with this solution. In the future, I know there's talk about things such as, telemetry. So, in your car, you're driving along, if the oil runs out, the red light comes on. So how can we potentially utilise the data that we that is in your system to be able to flag something that may be happening in the future for you? So again, you can get that looked at and resolved. Maybe your vendor numbering, you may be running out of that sequence. And the rate you're going at, you might run out in 3 months. So that needs to be looked at, and you can work with your partner on that. So just quickly, Lifecycle services. I just didn't log into it, but so you just type in here, Dynamics Lifecycle Services. Search engine of your choice. Use Bing. So there you go. So that's what it looks like. There's some videos and quotes from customers and partners and how they're using it. Okay, so there's lots and lots of information. So if you've got, as I mentioned, a license, you have an account with Microsoft, your software assurance is up to date, you'll be able to sign in and have a look. I'm going into the course of the Microsoft employee login. So I might need to, no, didn't, there you go. So this is one of the things, I don't have an Azure subscription, but you can spin up these cloud hosted environments. So at the moment there's a demonstration you can spin up. There's also test and development that you could also spin up as well if you wanted to kind of doing some playing around. And the last thing I'll show, just quickly, because I want you to get out and have a drink and relax a bit. Where are we? I need to pick a project. I just wanted to quickly show you this service called Business Process Modeler. That's what I was just talking about before, where we there we go. I've got to log in again, sorry guys. Business process model. So this is where we ship with these APQC business process libraries. Okay, so I'm just going to select an AX2012 R3. So these are basically, and you can print these out in Visio and so on and so forth. So basically you can see processes such as managing our financial resources. I'm going to go down to accounts payable, and maybe how we process our expense reimbursements. I'll just go and select something there. And what it does is, as you can see, that's the actual flow chart for that. And you'll see a video down here. So what this actually is, this video is a recording from the task recorder within Dynamics AX. So effectively what it's doing is it's showing what it looks like, this process, in the actual AX2012 system if a user was doing it. Okay, so again, you can utilise these recordings to actually create those business process models as well. All right, so what I'll do is wrap up now. If you do want to see all of this in action, if you're still not sure and you're thinking, how does Dynamics AX work with all these different Microsoft solutions, we have something which is called a customer immersion experience. That's where you can come in, you can pretend to be a particular persona, bring your team in, and you work through typical business, day-to-day business scenarios for your organisation, and you can experience all these solutions, and particularly how AX2012 operates with all the various Microsoft solutions. Anyway, come to an end now. So has anyone got any immediate questions? Otherwise we can break out the front, and you're more than welcome. I'll be hanging around. You can come and talk to me.